There it
Good
is.
morning. This is a super special day today. There's lots of things happening besides our special guest. Today is our first show of our fourth season. It's Teresa's birthday today. Happy birthday, Teresa.
Thank you.
And this is our very first show where we will be broadcasting on the page verynormal.com as well as our YouTube and our Facebook Live. So you can watch all the shows on verynormal.com, including ours, as there as well. So, and this week we were on Psychic Diaries from the UK with
As
Jackie Dennison and
guests.
Michael
Yeah.
Lamport as guests. So that was a lot of fun. It's been a really exciting week, actually, hasn't it? And now
Yes.
to top it off, we have Matthew Mournian with us.
Mournian.
And
Mournian.
Maureen, oh, I'm sorry, Matthew. Don't mind me. It's
Close enough.
Canadian.
No worries. No worries. Close enough. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you guys, please share this out. Share this out. Come on in. Say hello. Hello, Linda. Say hello. Teresa Holmes is on. Come on in. Let us know where you're coming from. We are coast to coast right now. Ontario, Tennessee, New Hampshire, and Matthew's out in California. So come
Holding
on
on
in,
down the
everybody.
four corners.
Share it out. And Teresa, would you introduce our special guest today?
Okay, I'm really excited for so many reasons. I had been watching Matthew because he's a part of a lot of the disclosure things. And so I'd been watching him interview people and do things, and I was amazed. And I'm sitting here watching him more and thinking, like, man, dude, I got to invite him on the show. And then he messaged us, and so I'm over here, fangirling so bad. It's like, haven't I got past that yet? But I was fangirling. And so here we are. But the bonus is I got to have an early birthday with him, having a session with him. So now I know all you guys, everyone listening, go get a session with Matthew because this is what we all need now and then. It's like a full body tune up. Everything. Here we are. We're empaths. We're putting energy out there and we're doing things. We're sending love, clearing the grid. You know all the things we do. But we need to treat ourselves to clearing up things as we go along. And he's so gentle with what he does. I could even feel him inside clearing things as we went along. And it's like, wow, I was so amazed at all that. And he uses the tarot cards in a unique way that was like new to me that I really dig. And I can understand that. Like you said, we all come up with our own ways, and that's exciting. But I really was digging what you were doing too. So welcome, Matthew.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm truly honored to be here. I want to start out by saying this is a little bit of a weird admission, but the morning that you and I talked about being on your show, I actually woke up in the morning and I had this really strong message in my head that was like, write to them, write to that woman right there, write to that show. And I was like, huh, I've seen this. Oh, all right. Yeah. You know what? Maybe I literally did it. And it's very, very rare that I ever do that. So thank you. Thank you for
Oh,
like being there and for hearing that. Cause I was like, huh, maybe I will. Okay. And then bam, here we are. So yeah, no, thank
oh,
you. And I also appreciate your feedback on the session. I truly, truly mean that. At the risk of going on a long tangent at the start here, at the beginning of 2021, and this is for everyone who will be hearing this later, for those who will see it now, it doesn't matter who it is, but we are at what I call a really big timeline marker. It's literally like a crossroads in our spiritual and energetic development that starts right at the beginning of each and every year. There's a little bit of a difference in 2021 in which there is a literal additional template, like in another framework, or we could even say an additional layer of the human circuitry system that is coming online right now. So anyway, yeah, thank you for having me here, and we'll be talking about that.
yeah, that's exciting. Oh my God. I'm sorry, I'm blown away right now. Hang on. Coming back with words. So, what always interests me most when we get to meet our guests is I really like to hear the beginning journey too. So, can you tell us about the layers of your awakening? Because I know they come at different places and times.
Absolutely. I had a very, what I call kind of an explosive, a very difficult awakening. I was one of those individuals that right around 2012, if we go way back, which I guess is ancient history now, right? 2012, it looks like multiple lifetimes ago.
Oh my,
But
oh my God.
I was part of that, I think, initial group of people on the Earth plane that were just aware of 2012. We didn't really know why. There was all kinds of weird stuff going on in my world, which didn't necessarily match with what I was seeing in the media. Just crazy stuff. It felt like my reality was getting ripped open, which is a bizarre thing to talk about when you're a mental health, caseworker and you're working in addiction treatment and you've got 20 different clients and you're working in a clinical atmosphere. And I started to have these crazy experiences. And so in 2012 I had what I call this empathic explosion, and I chose, like many people on the earth plane, I decided to go on antidepressant medication and to be medicated. I thought I was losing my mind. I was like, this is crazy, I'm getting all these
Oh,
signals and stuff about people. And so fast forward a few years later to 2015 and 16, and these events continued to ramp up in my life to such an extent that in 2016 I started, to becoming aware of just a little bit more of disclosure stuff and spirituality. But I started to have these events where it was as if this extraterrestrial beings would show up in my meditation, and it was never gray aliens. It was just these wild multidimensional beings like giant mantises and
oh yeah.
individuals and literal lion beings. And at the time, I was very reluctant to talk about it with anyone because I was like, obviously, people are going to think I'm crazy. No one's going to believe you when you say that you were standing in your backyard with a giant lion being and a mantis being having a conversation, right? It literally sounds insane to a lot of us. So I just kept it. I held it inside till about the end of 2017, and I had this huge event in my life where I walked away from my marriage. I walked away from the house I owned. I left my previous job. I literally dropped everything in my old life in
Wow.
summer of 2017. I put my belongings literally on the curb of my old house and I drove away. And it was like the craziest leap of faith that I had ever taken. And so I think for me, I had what we call just a very explosive awakening process. And during that sort of, leaving behind the old life, I experienced what I call a miracle, a literal timeline shift, because it was as if I began to do this different type of work. It was as if these sort of like abilities or knowing started showing up in my life. And when those things happen as an adult, and we have no basis for like comparison in our real world, most of us will think we're crazy. Our families will be like, you're insane, you're leaving your whole life behind to suddenly do, get this, psychic work. What? Oh, let me guess, you're going to be a healer now. Okay, well, good luck with that. And so I had the experience of literally walking out of an old life, and within 2 months of that date, it was as if people from literally all over the world, and I didn't even have a website yet. And it was like somehow people were like, oh yeah, I hear you're doing this thing. Okay, I want to try it. And it was like clients started coming to me. And so I had a very strange, almost like a miraculous sort of awakening where I just shifted from one state of existence to another. And I think that's very different. Not too many people are having that right now, but I believe, and this is kind of the whole object to this long rant here, in 2021, I believe we are going to begin to see a wave of transformations very much like that. So I think I had to go through an extremely explosive kind of start to this journey, but I don't know if that answers your question, but
Yeah, no, I just love our journeys because they're all so personal, and we always think that we're all alone. All the people that I get to meet, and then there's some part where we just follow it anyway, and then boom, we're met by our spiritual family, which is so much more fulfilling than anything we've had before that. It's like miraculous in itself. So that's why I like our awakening journeys. So
absolutely.
I want to shift to the multidimensional stuff because that's a word we hear a lot. But until you have somebody work with you, like you did with me on multidimensional levels and stuff, until you do that, that brings it to a whole new level. So can you explain what the multidimensional work is and where we could move forward with this?
I believe I can. I will try. And I will start out by saying that when people hear a lot of the sort of spiritual buzzwords like multidimensionality, or even like the sort of new age buzzwords of like like ascension, like the awakening, and there are so many labels and individual meanings and individualistic understandings of what these terms mean. So I guess I'll explain it from Matthew's point of view.
Yeah.
When I talk about multidimensional healing, I believe we're talking about what is essentially fourth density energy. And so a lot of people also hear that term and they're like, oh, what densities? What are you talking about? 5D, 4D? What are you really talking about? And so when we talk about fourth density, once again, this is from my understanding. What we're talking about from a most simplistic perspective is non-physical, invisible energy that exists outside of what we would call this physical kind of 3D separation state. And so whittling that down into multidimensional healing, what we're essentially doing is working with non-physical energetic currents of energy in the body that will have an entirely physical impact, yet also equally non-physical. And we're coming to the stage in our, I guess we could call consciousness development, in which, especially in 2021, the human body's ability to discern, understand, receive, or palpably, feel these non-physical currents of energy is expanding exponentially. Like we are able to feel and experience this non-physical energy much greater. So getting back to multidimensional healing, we're to be very specific, when people are trying to understand this, most of us are working with the chakras in the body, the non-physical energy centers, but I would even say more than that, at least for me, the meridians, the actual electric circuitry in the body. And so multidimensional healing encompasses all of those areas, physical, non-physical. Some people, I think, in the old world would even call it shamanic. It's basically anything that pulls us out of the traditional modality and into what I call kind of like the realm of spirit. So I don't know if that answers it or makes it more complex. But
It's an ever unfolding learning. So I totally appreciate that. But there's another way that you were applying it too that comes with the intuition. So it took me a long time to figure out, am I listening to my intuition or not? But you've already taken your intuition to a multidimensional level as well. Can you share some of that?
yeah, that thank you for that question as well. This is actually very important, I think, for the beginning of 2021. It's kind of synchronistic that you would ask that question, because what we are about to experience this year is an actual activation and an enhancement of the infrastructure areas in the physical body that are going to allow people to feel or experience that energy a little bit differently. And I have a feeling I might be instantly branching off of your question. So you might want to restate that, because I was like, I could like feel myself
It,
going into some other rant. Go ahead.
oh, it's okay. Take
Yeah.
a rant. I
Oh,
learn a lot from your rants.
well, thank you. Okay, so anyway, I will just wrap that up. I think that what we're about to experience is an activation of what some of us call universal energy centers on the body. Some people call them universal energy centers. Other people call it, well, rather, what I believe is just existing energetic infrastructure that's outside of the body. And for anyone that's going to end up watching this, you can start tapping into it now by simply imagining that there are two orbs. Actually, if you want to get technical, I think there's going to be five at a certain point, but you can imagine there's literally orbs positioned around the sides of your head. For some people, that's like, what? That's a really crazy idea. But it will make sense later on as we go through this process. And when I say later on, I mean years down the road as we continue to like develop these things. But what it essentially is the multi-dimensional causal or portal chakras opening on the body. And at the beginning of 2021, we begin to experience this energy a lot differently. And so I feel like I probably branched off into some weird stuff, but for those that are trying to understand multidimensional energy, or these things are just coming into your understanding and you're hearing people talk about it, like on Facebook or wherever it is, and you're like, huh, there's something there for me. I believe that is because our entire population is about to be able to receive and feel and use this energy differently. And so anyway, I might be branching
Wow.
on. I hope it
This
makes
is
sense.
going to be so exciting. I mean, I really love our human journey. I know so many are tired, and I'm not going to reincarnate back here again, but I am. I want to see how all this plays out. I want to be here. So, what I've learned about multidimensional is that who we look at in the mirror, the one we've grown up with, we often hang on to a lot and have all these issues and those issues. But there's more to us than looking in the mirror. There's so much more. And if we were able to believe and feel and follow so much more, I don't think we'd be feeling so bad about these parts that we grew up with. So
Yeah.
I think it's a part of growing and stuff. What do you
Well,
think?
totally. At the risk of being even weirder, there's an additional template. There's like these versions of us that we will cycle throughout the life cycle. And even depending on what age you are in your journey on Earth right now, you will be experiencing both simultaneously a previous stage of identity and a new one that you will be actively forming based on the ongoing changes that are happening in our world. And to make it even crazier, we already decided on these personas prior to coming in here. It's like this crazy multi-leveled kind of identity assignment process that takes place throughout the physical life cycle. And I have this weird feeling that when this, sort of physical chapter ends for us, we will literally be in this astral space where we get to have a great revealing after this. And we're like, okay, what was really going on? And like, 2021, when like this happened and this happened. And finally, after this whole great show, we're going to be sitting there going, oh, yeah, that's what it was. And so, anyway, yeah, stages of identity. It's a real thing.
Yeah, that's crazy. I totally relate to that, though, because I feel like some days I'm, still showing up as the former version of me that I don't really identify with anymore. And then some days I'm showing up as a whole new me I don't know yet. I totally feel that way. And I feel like some days it's just like, who am I going to be when I wake up in the morning? You never know.
Oh, yeah. No, totally. I have also noticed, and I'll bet you guys just noticed this as well, because we just did a holiday thing. And for a lot of us that are sort of flicking back and forth between the new version of us and the old version of us, a lot of us have that really difficult period with the old version of us when we're around our families, or we get back into that old sphere of influence. And it's like everything that makes you kind of like unique or empowered in your new world, it's like we start to, we kind of just like and shrink down. I do it too. I totally do it too. And yeah, it's a real thing.
It's like we go back to our child self.
Yeah,
because it's so much like, and so we get to experience all those times of Christmases past again, just like in the Christmas Carol, which is a really weird show. If you take that story and you bring it forward, it's very multidimensional in time shifting and everything else. So it's way ahead of its time, but when you think about it, it's quite interesting. Matthew, could you give us a demonstration of this? Because I know our audience would love to do sort of a little bit of your healing work, and you have a great meditation to help kind of feel certain things.
Yeah, absolutely. We totally can, and we can literally do that now. And so what I'm going to start by doing, everybody, is we're going to start seeding your consciousness with what we're doing. And so whether or not you do this now or you end up watching this video later on and you're like, how did I find this strange show and this strange man rambling about all this stuff? It's very cool, because what we're doing literally in this moment is I'm laying a frequency out with my voice. It's kind of like a sort of bed. It's almost like a layer of energy that comes out vocally for people, and it starts an entrainment process. And so what we're going to do in the next few minutes is begin a process of entraining and opening the vagus nerve on the body. And so for everyone that's listening, if you want to understand where your vagus nerve is, one of the easiest ways to tap into it, believe it or not, is to just hold your fingers right here at the base of your throat and kind of tighten up your neck. Everyone will kind of tighten their neck, and they'll feel those little tendons right there. And so one of the easiest ways, you can literally plug in right here, right at that little notch at the base of your collarbone. Another place you can do it is behind your ears, right back here in the back of your head. And some people will even push their fingers down at the base of their skull, right under their ear, and they'll feel that interesting knot of tendons and like all that stuff on your neck. And so those are two really good places to tap into the vagus nerve. But hold on, because not everybody's heard of the vagus nerve. A lot of people will see the word flying by on social media. They'll have heard about it, and they're like, okay, there's this nerve, and this guy's showing us where it is, but what does it actually do? Well, first off, it does so many things that it would take us hours to talk about it here. But from an intuitive or energetic standpoint, the vagus nerve, number one, as the 10th pair of cranial nerves, is an incredibly important pathway for passing information. But from a fourth density perspective, non-physical energy in the body, it is one of the primary, I would call it like a fiber optic cable, sending intuitive, physical, emotional, energetic information through the body. And so a lot of us right now as individuals, we're feeling very worn down. We're having a hard time tapping into our gut instinct. We're getting so much information and intuitive stuff from the world that it's very difficult to make sense of what goes on. The vagus nerve, from a multidimensional perspective in the body, allows us to begin to discern, disseminate, route and make use of that information. And so as I've been talking, some people are going to be getting a little bit of a scratchiness in their throat. Some people are going to be getting a little bit sleepy, a little bit wound down. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a series of breaths, very deliberate breaths. And on the third breath, everyone here, we're all going to make a sound. And I'm doing this ultra simplistic because I want everyone to kind of understand what we're doing. The act of toning or creating a vibration in the body is entirely different for us now than it was a few years ago. We could even go so far as to say different now than it was months ago. Part of that has to do with new energy centers awakening in the body, but an even greater level has to do with an increased interactivity between our nerves, between our fascia, and between the actual consciousness of our organs. And so if everyone's ready, you can tap in behind your ears, or you can just hold your fingers at the bottom of your throat here. And I'm going to do a demonstration first, so everyone kind of understands what we're doing when we use this tone. It's actually called scalar toning. However, that's really just a name that I gave it. I think it's an ancient practice that people have been using for thousands of years. So I like to say I have no ownership over this modality. It's something that was reintroduced to me, but what we're essentially doing is creating a scalar wave frequency in the body. And I know there's a lot of explanation here, but let's talk about the scalar wave frequency, because there's a tremendous amount of information and all sorts of terminology and lots of once again ascension buzzwords. And so when we talk about scalar wave technology from the most basic perspective, we're talking about a non-physical energetic current that has the ability to penetrate, disassemble, harmonize, or essentially carry any form of information, emotion, or I guess really anything that you choose within this frequency. Think of it like a carrier wave or a capsule of energy sent through a auditory vibration. So I know that was a lot of talk, but I'm going to show it to everyone that's here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do it first, and then we're going to take 3 breaths, and everyone's going to create a vibration in their body. But I'll show you guys how it goes. We simply close our eyes, and we take some very deliberate breaths down in your belly like there's a balloon. Just very gentle. We tap into our intention of, in this case today, for everyone that's here, our intention is to enhance, open, and further work with our intuitive instinct in 2021. And so I'll demonstrate first. Here we go. Deep breath in. And then we remove the energy. Now, some of you guys will notice when I do that tone, the sound gets very quiet. It will change. Some people will get a feeling in their body. Other people will get a thought form. Some people will feel that energy and they'll begin to kind of sink down in their chair. And so for those of you guys, and we're going to do this in a moment, but for those of you guys that even felt that initial wave, that's a vagus nerve stimulation. And so I just saw the comment on the screen there. One of the ways we will notice when that nerve begins to open and the vagal tone starts to expand is you will literally hear ringing in your ears. Some people's feet will get cold. Other people will get sometimes a sweatiness around their neck or in their armpits. And what is that? That's actually your lymphatic system starting to open up and flow. And so anyway, that was a long demo. Do we have any questions so far? Sorry, I've been ranting at you.
No, I can't wait. This
Okay,
is good.
Okay, good. Thank you. Because I know I just kind of talk on and on. So I'm like, okay, hopefully we're okay. So what we're going to do, guys, now that we just did kind of like a little bit of the intro, you can imagine we're getting a little sample in the supermarket. Throw, here you go. You're going to try this. And now we're at the stage where we're like, okay, we're going to do it. And so if everyone's ready, everyone watching, I'd like you to close your eyes. I know it's always awkward when we do this on social media, but we're going to close our eyes and we're going to take 3 very deliberate breaths as I'm talking, as slow as you can go. It's almost as if you're pressing your breath all the way down inside your belly like there's a balloon. And you're just gently expanding. And as you exhale, very slowly, very deliberate, You're imagining that you're priming an energetic pump inside your body, getting ready to receive new energy. And so we do 3 breaths. Some of you guys are going to get a strange smile on your face in the next few moments. We're going to do 3 breaths. And on the 3rd breath, everyone that hears my voice all across the world, we're just going to allow a vibration to come out of your body. For some of you, it'll be a hum. For some of you, it'll be a tone. For some of you, it'll be a very strange, broken, nonsensical sound that comes out of your body, and that is absolutely perfect. So here we go, guys. Tap into your neck. Maybe tap in behind your ears, and let's take breath number 1. Big breath and hold it. Hold that breath and release. Shh. Make a shh sound as you release, like a snake. It's like a steam valve. Shh. Let's do one more big breath, everybody. Big breath, hold it. Focus here. And release. Shh. Make that crazy sound like a snake. On this 3rd one, we're going to make a tone. Your body's going to vibrate. Trust yourselves wherever you are in the world. Let's take that big 3rd breath. This is your vagus nerve. Here it is. Big breath in. And follow me. When you're ready, reach over to that throat right there and simply pull that energy out. For some of you, it'll be like a string or a thread. Every now and then, it's like a little cork, and it pops right out of your body. And what you're doing is you're releasing dead energy. You're releasing dead emotion. For some people that experience that, it's almost like they're going through it. It's like, whoa, what was that? What were we doing? It'll be very foreign. But for some people, there's an instant familiarity. And so anyway, I know we've been going on and on that for a minute. Thanks to you guys. How you doing?
Yeah, I want everybody to type in what was your experience when we did that. And for the weirdest reason, once I was getting into it, and I used to do stuff like this a lot when I was a little kid. I mean, so maybe that's, where we remember it. But I felt I was in a room full of cats. Okay, now I would have preferred dragons or dolphins or something, but I was in a room full of cats. It was not even
Oh,
a room here. It was a multidimensional room, an ethereal.
nice. Well, I love
That's
it.
cool.
Yeah, good.
Very cool. My first experience when you first started talking about us focusing on the energy around here, like feeling it, is that feeling you get when you have something really sour, like right in here. And I was like, oh, okay, I know that feeling, right? So once we were toning and stuff, though, I just felt like everything kind of melting. It just moves right down my back, like this pulsing wave of energy just moving down my back. It was very cool.
Oh, thanks. That's actually exactly what we're trying to do. Just so you know, for those of you guys, and granted, this was like ultra quick. It's like, okay, let's just, take one little sample of a thing, but you're actually describing the process of the lymphatic mobilization that takes place when we do these tones. One of the things we're going to discover in the coming years as we continue to go down this weird road is that the act of creating a vibration in the body at this stage is one of the most useful methods for transmitting energy, and especially when you feel that wave going down your back. Here's what's crazy. That is a literal example of opening up the urinary bladder meridian on someone's body, because that's where we create the flow up and down the sides of the back. Very cool. Anyway, thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's really
And
cool. I had
got a
like
lot
all
of
of a sudden, like
experience.
your tone and my tone.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I said like all of a sudden your tone and my tone sort of had a harmonic resonance. I don't know. It was weird. It just kind of all blended in. It was interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
I love
There are
that.
times when we have done that on our class. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. There are times when we have done that on a class, because we actually teach this in a course where everyone kind of at a certain point, we all do this crazy tone together. And there are times when we have done that in which you can hear it's like this crazy tangle of all of these voices, like this wild, crazy thing. And so, yeah, that is a trip. People's voices will sort of unknowingly synchronize in this weird way. It'll actually create sweating for some people. It's is a fascinating thing. And so anyway,
That's awesome. T, why don't you read some of our viewer comments?
Oh man, there's so many coming in, Matthew. You're gonna love this.
oh cool,
Okay.
yeah, thank you. Please, any
Um,
questions at all?
Linda found it relaxing. Ollie's head started buzzing. And Nancy's talking about that cat energy because she works with cats. So she's our cat expert. Belinda was saying hi. But I want to read you this one from Mary Ward, May Ward. There I go. She said, I shifted. I'm super hot. I had an image of the Virgin Mary and doves, golden light. There was hand on my head blessing me. And then I think down lower, which I've lost it, but and then she shifted like a serpent. And so Lynn Marie was having a thyroid release. So that there's like all kinds of action going on from this today.
So actually, I'm now seeing it. Thank you. I didn't even know I had access to the comments. I was like, oh wait,
Oh,
oh,
sorry. That's my bad. I should have let
oh no,
you
it's
know.
totally me.
Yeah.
I use this all the time, but I just totally forgot to click on it. But yeah, no, I will just comment on that really quickly. Thank you, May Ward. It's very, very interesting that you said a comment. There was a hand on my head blessing me because oh my goodness, May Ward, that is literally what I do at the beginning of every single session. It's a literal crown chakra opening. So not to say that was me, Mayward. I want to be very careful. I'm not claiming anything, but what will happen is we will instantly tap into a channel of our own multidimensional frequency. And so that's a really good sign that that frequency is working for you, May. Thank you.
What an awesome experience. Thank you so much
So
for
would
sharing
you?
that.
Yeah, way
Thank you.
cool.
So can our viewers do this daily or something like that? Would that be a good thing to do in your
Absolutely.
practice? Do you think?
I believe that we are coming to the stage in which everyone is going to begin to understand and kind of conceptualize their own version of whether it be spiritual or energetic maintenance. And so in my own work, I use the act or the what I call the modality of scalar toning as one of the primary kind of techniques. Some people will find that when they begin to try to open up their energy centers or work with channels while toning, it can, for some people, it'll be an awkward experience because we're very conditioned as humans to have judgments over our voice and to hear how it sounds and to hear these thought forms in our head that are like, this sounds horrible. It can't be real. And so everyone comes to it in their own way. One of the things that I like to tell people to do when they first start trying to create a multidimensional vibration in the body, that I think the easiest way to do it is to actually like to just do this internal kind of body vibration. And later on, some people will choose to make a sound and they'll choose to begin kind of vibrating their energy centers. But it kind of makes it a little confusing because another thing that I talk about, a lot of the classes that I do is the reality is, this is where we get weird. We don't actually have to make the sound. You don't actually have to make any sound at all. But the process of creating a kind of like a resonant vibration in the body for us as humans here on Earth in the sort of 3D separation state, it's like training wheels for sending multi-dimensional energy. And so while you can do it with thought alone, you could do it literally with your breath. I think that getting back to that idea of just, maintenance and like personal meditation, each person is going to come up with their own version of how to open up that energy. While, creating a vibration in the body is great, for everyone, it's a little bit different. And I think that that's also, at the risk of going on a long rant here, that's also one of the things that I think makes the kind of the style or the teaching modality of multidimensional intuitive healing that I use a little bit different, because it's really not about getting people to follow this path or this method, or at 9 a.m. you do this meditation and you focus on your crown and you say these words, and everyone can do that. But I think what we're coming to in the stage of consciousness renaissance is that the real strength and empowerment comes in you finding your own way. And it's like, well, there's this guy's method and there's this person and that person. So we're meant to take a little bit from everyone. And so I don't know if that answered your question, but yeah.
I totally
So
love
cool.
that.
Okay. So I was just wondering, like we do, when we go into our records, we were taught to do it with 5 sacred ohms. So that's what sort of reminded me of putting yourself in that higher frequency when we're ohming. What do you think, girls?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I stopped opening them that way, but I do
Um,
agree. I feel the resonance that we used to
yeah,
feel when we did that, yeah, would put us in a
yeah.
zone for
It's
sure.
definitely like, yeah, the activation of it, you know, when you get into that body vibe, you know, you feel your body vibrating, you feel that energy moving around you, and it helps you to get into that frequency to bring you into that space for me. But I've noticed now that I also don't need to do it as much because my body starts to vibrate on its own, and I feel what feels like static moving in and around my body. It's like this constant static happening, especially like when I'm trying to tune into something, you know, depending on other people's, if I'm working with someone, their energy, I'll feel a different energy of static in a different spot and things like that. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is absolutely real. Thank you for mentioning the static feeling. It's funny that you would call it static because I've actually encountered something very, very much like that. As you sort of like descend into actually technically probably like a theta or delta state, very much like that. It's like this sort of noise or thought forms or the energy buildup maybe of the world. It's like you have to almost navigate through this field. And I might be describing it in a really jumbled up way, but it sounds like what you're saying. So
Oh, that's
Yeah,
so
it's
cool.
cool. Very cool.
So I had another question that takes us to another area. So now talking about disclosure as we're moving into 2021 and things like that, because we're all excited about that. And I learned that in a lot of ways, disclosure comes through each of us sharing our experiences, you know, rather than some big drawn out government thing. But then I saw that Trump signed a thing for a 180-day countdown for a lot more disclosure. Do you have any insights into that?
you know, I heard about this 180 thing, or excuse me, the 180-day disclosure thing. To me, at early stage, it looks like medical-based technology, if there is a technological thing that's slated for release, but it actually looks more like a PR stunt to create some sort of anticipation and kind of like a carrot on the stick dynamic. I don't say that from a negative perspective because I've watched with great interest and also, you know, contrasting feelings the entire political process lately. However, getting back to the phenomenon or the concept of disclosure, whether you want to call it governmental or personal or any kind of disclosure, and some people get annoyed when they hear me say this, but official disclosure has already taken place. It literally already happened governmentally. It took place in December of 2017 with some bizarre, just nonsensical announcements about the Pentagon's whatever, you know, UFO study program, which was, you know, granted, it was a little straw that we got. But if you want to get technical, in my opinion, for everyone that's watching this, disclosures already happened. I would even go so far as to say governmental or societal disclosure from the sort of, you know, like the bureaucratic powers that were is, to me, some people get worried when they say it's irrelevant. To me, it makes absolutely there's no reason why I need sort of governmental body to disclose to me what I already know. And, you know,
Nice.
granted, you can kind of like interpret that any number of ways. And so I believe, like you said, Teresa, the process of disclosure of the spiritual realms and extraterrestrial technology and our collective experience is through us. We
Mhm.
are literally disclosure. This moment right now is the process and the age of disclosure. And so I actually, you know, not to be semi, you know, I can't even think of the word I was going to use, not to be negative, but I actually don't really care if the government ever tells us anything about ETs or disclosure. To me, it's more relevant to understand the hidden technology and the things that could be benefiting our world, because I don't think they will ever, ever, ever explain the full extent of involvement. And so anyway, not to go on a weird rant on that one, but it's absolutely important. But I think it's us. We are literally
Right.
disclosure. So
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's totally what I love and I like about it because really, as rebellious as some of us seem to be, I don't know if I'd, you know, fall for anything about the government anyway, but I do like how everyone's at their different stages of awakening. Everyone's at different stages of awareness. And it's good to come together and find our families like this so that we
Mhm.
can share the things. And this is validating to each other. This helps it to take it further as we understand more things. So I think it's just beautiful going as it is right now to me.
Absolutely. I think the thing that we need to
Yeah.
remember too is that, you know, this past year has been a really big awakening for those who are looking outside of themselves for the answers and realizing how much we have already within us. You know, that we're only going to find the truth if we look within. You know, we don't need the government to confirm anything for us. We need to stop giving them that power. We need to stop being dependent on them to tell us what we should think and what we should eat and how we should feel and where we should go. And, you know, like that's exactly the point is we're breaking free of that needing disclosure from the government, who's not going to give us anything but what they want us to know, you know, for whatever propaganda they're feeding. So the best form of rebellion you can have is to trust in your own experiences, trust in your own knowing, trust in your own, you know, your own perceptions of what you're going through. Right. And don't rely on anything. You know, you don't have to wait for something to show up to say, yeah, you're right, that really happened, because you already know. You can't deny what you feel. You know, you can't deny your own inner knowing. So trust that and forget the government.
Oh, totally. I will also say, just really quickly, for the actual record, I would love to be wrong on that. I would love for, like, you know, like, what is it on January, like, whatever, Trump's all, okay, guys, guess what? Turns out there's these aliens chilling in the White House. I would love for that to be the case. Truly, I pray. Maybe I'll be wrong and there'll be this massive announcement. I don't know if you guys remember 2012. It might have been David Wilcock claimed that Barack Obama was going to come up on live on CNN with two human hybrids next to him. They had already booked the television time, and honestly, I was like, I pray that happens. I think we all kind of knew it wasn't, but I'm like, that would be incredible. Please, I would love for that to take place. And so, anyway, just for the record, maybe I'll be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it would be awesome. It would be an amazing experience to have them show up and be like, here it is, what you've been waiting for. Right. But, you know, it's like, again, you know, we don't, the sooner, well, I guess, okay, the best understanding is when we stop feeling like we need it to happen, that's when we're opening up the channel for it to actually happen, is when we're not waiting for it and needing it and saying, okay, I can't live without this being confirmed. I need to know the truth. No, when you stop needing it, that's when it shows up. So the sooner that we get past that, you know.
However, I'd still like to say, see, I told you so. But anyways, Matthew, can you tell us a little bit of what you're working on now? And if you have some courses, people were asking what's going on. All the information to contact Matthew is in the video info. So please check those out. His links, our links, his links, everybody's links out there. But please let us know what's going on for this becoming year.
Totally. Thank you. In terms of stuff I'm doing, first off, I have a educational project called the School of Multidimensional Intuition. Right now, it's primarily the YouTube channel through which we disseminate just a lot of the classes and the courses that I've been doing. So if people want to look at sort of the style and the manner by which we do these courses, you can check me out on YouTube at the School of Multidimensional Intuition. Also, starting actually next Sunday, literally 1 week from today, we're beginning the first class of 2021, and it's a 7-week course. And so what do I mean when I say 7-week course? I mean, we meet over Zoom every Sunday for 7 weeks. And what we do in this course is called the 4th Density Survival Series. And what we're doing is basically learning how to open up the chakra system, how to tune the chakra system. What are the chakras? How do they actually work? What do they look like? Where did they go in the body? What did they really do? What sort of experiences are in the chakras? How does that function? And and the most important thing is, what can we actually do about it? Because a lot of people are talking about, the phenomenon of energy work and, the chakras and the meridians and these channels. And many people, we're all coming to our own understanding. One of the things we do in these courses is help people come to their own version of what's going on, because there's a lot of standardized sort of, information that has been disseminated decade after decade about, non-physical energy centers in the body that, while very helpful and very true, we are coming to the stage in the journey where every person is going to be having a different experience. There's no standardized set of, sort of senses or channels or energy centers that open up. So on January 10th, we're starting the 4th Density Survival Series Chakra Clearing Workshop, which for 7 weeks, we're working specifically with the chakra system. There's a few meridians that I'm going to bring in there. I think we're going to do the Chiang Mai, which most people haven't heard of it. But if anyone wants to open another window and look up one of the most important, not talked about channels on your body, you can literally Google it right now. It's called the Chiang Mai. But anyway, we're going to be going through some channels in the body, all of our organs, and probably a little bit more. We also work with organ consciousness, the sort of emotions in the organs. So you guys can check that out at my website, rememberyourmission.com, and it starts next Sunday. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Definitely.
I also do private sessions 5 days a week for people that want to get like actual individual energy clearing or individual multidimensional readings. I also do private sessions, which you guys can book at rememberyourmission.com as well. So.
Oh, yes. Do that for yourself, my friends. Do that.
Okay. Now, Bex, you have one more question for
I do.
Matthew.
I have the really hard question, so you better be
Okay,
ready.
yeah,
All right. If you had to choose a song to be the theme song of your life, what would it be?
Oh, I love it. So the good news is, I'll just say it for everybody in the world. I actually am the worst at choosing songs, and I'm really grateful that you asked me this question ahead of time, because I'm such a music stub, and I'm always like, I hate this and that. I don't like that, but I like this. You know what I mean? Like, one of those things. I'll just be straight up. The song that I chose is "My Way" by Frank Sinatra. So
Perfect.
Oh,
Okay.
Woo!
I love it. That's awesome.
Woo! I love
absolutely,
it. Right on.
very cool.
Right on. Well, I hope we get you back on again.
yeah,
Yes.
me
You're
too. Thank you.
so knowledgeable, and I know we haven't even tapped to
I
surface.
know, there's a lot to get into.
I gotta know more.
Absolutely. It'd be amazing. Do you do your own show anywhere?
You know, I have done at several stages a sort of what I call, hold on, I can't even say the name of it right now, Strange Communications. It's a little bit of a show that I did on my School of Multidimensional Intuition channel, where we would just kind of bring people in, talk about strange things. But what I have learned over the past years, I am definitely not an interviewer. I am not one of those people that's here to do like journalism stuff and to interview people for my channel. I like doing it, but it's really just a thing that I will do on a project case by case basis. And so I had done a little show for a while, but primarily for people that will encounter me at this stage, it's usually either through Facebook Live or on YouTube. YouTube was a little weird for me. I wasn't able to start lives on there for a long time, even though I had a ton of people on my channel. It was like I would click it and they would just block me. It was weird, but yeah. So you can find my semi-regular live streams on Facebook and on YouTube, but yeah.
Awesome. Very
Woo.
cool. I can
So
only imagine the
excited.
wealth of information that you must be sharing is
Oh yeah.
absolutely
And
mind blowing.
Well,
and he
thank
tells
you.
such good stories. You feel like you're right there, like it's happening to you. And I just love that kind. I love when you do that, Matthew.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for hanging out today. What an amazing, amazing way to start the year and for us to start our fourth season. So cool. I'm
Yeah.
very excited that, this is how we get to start it off. Like, feels like such a blessing in itself. And I know that my energy since just shifting or activating that vagus nerve has been, I feel just very heart centered, very, very happy and blissful. And it's just good. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, that's it. That wraps up our first episode of season 4. Thank you to all who have been with us from the beginning, because this has been such a journey, and we're so excited that we get to continue into our 4th season. And we're excited to see what comes in this next year, as we're all really tuning into our own inner knowing and being able to activate these parts of ourselves and really tap into the multidimensionality of our beingness, right? So that's what we're doing. And this year is going to be, so powerful, so explosive, and life-changing in every way that we can imagine. So thank you all. We have one announcement real quick, and that is the winner of last week's Share It Out, and that is Sherry Merritt. You won with Rhonda, so congratulations. Whoever shares out this week the most will win with me. So guys, share this out. Invite your friends. This is the information that we really want to be able to help us step into our empowered roles in this journey, to really find out who we are and be able to awaken to our abilities. And I'm excited, very excited. So thank you all so much. And we wish you a blessed, blessed week. We'll see you next Sunday.
See you next Sunday, everyone.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thanks.